So, after the guy who was pissing all over the floor was sorted out by the nurses, it turns out he'd pulled his catheter out because he didn't want it in, you know, understandably. I've lost track, might have had a catheter 3 or 4 times. It's funny the things you lose count of when in many moments I was counting everything. But the morning came, sun came up, as it does. I got put into the general admission ward, waited for the doctor's rounds, which I learned were not as frequent or as I'd hoped for. Pitching everything on 5 minutes of an update from either one specialist and 4 to 5 registers or training doctors, learning as they went. I could see it all in their eyes if they were actually learning, empathizing, judging, and just perceiving. So the doctors said, your kidneys aren't working. They said, why, my creatinine, if I'm saying that right, or creatinine count was in the thousands. And all I knew was, man, was I fucking tired. So tired. Body was very weak. Spirit didn't feel too strong at that moment either. But they said, hey, we're going to put you on emergency dialysis. And what that means is we're going to have to put a line into your femoral artery. I didn't know what that meant. I learned what that meant in about 45 minutes when this nephrologist came back. It was very, very caring. And she said, hold on, we're going to need to put it inside your thigh. She explained to me what the procedure was. So she did a little nick on the inside, put what I now refer to as a blood line into the artery. It's kind of like one tube, 2 tubes come out. And of course, that meant that blood goes out, blood goes in. And then I was introduced to the dialysis ward and this big machine, hemodialysis. The nurses hooked me up. I sit there for 5.5, 6 hours, and I did this for days, I think 4 days straight. Started feeling better. Energy levels started to balance out. I was hoping that was it. Not quite it. I did have the strength to stand and walk. So I went for a walk to the observation area, some windows in the hospital. I thought, well, I feel great. Felt great lying down. I might have made it 50 or 60 meters, and in that amount of time I went from I feel great to I barely have the strength to walk back. Made it back with help. Lay back down in bed. The nurse came around and I asked him, how am I going? And I could tell from his mannerisms, looking at his charts, he was telling me about 10% of the truth, 10% of what he thought. And he said, well, your creatinine is still over 1,000. I said, what does that mean? And he said, you'll be here for a wee while yet. So I made peace with being there for a wee while yet. Thus begun a new normal.